And greetings, everyone. This is Terry Naturally with another edition of Terry Talks Nutrition. We're here every Saturday and Sunday morning from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we're here primarily for you. We do a ton of research. I'm on the research website for science, nutrition, and all kinds of health promoting ideas that I can share with you. I'm not here to make decisions for you. I'm not telling you what you should do or what you should not do. I'm giving you ideas. If you want better health, you can have better health. It's not all based on drugs. Now hear me right. I'm not telling you to go off your drugs. That's entirely between you and your doctor. But I'm only sharing with you alternative ideas and methods that are in many cases more powerful, more healthy, and less toxic than the drugs that are used today. It's all based on diet, nutrition, which is the foundation of your health, and supplements that will fill in the gap for those nutrients that are missing from even a good, healthy diet. The best food today is not the best food today. We have to do the best we can, of course, and then fill in with supplements to take up the lack of nutrients that are missing in our foods. We try to eat the best we can. Do something great every day to make better choices. And we're here to help provide you with information that I know, that I am convinced, that will absolutely change your health over time. You can't make a change of diet and then I know many people do not have the strength or the willpower to maintain a healthy diet because they're addicted to sugar. They're addicted to junk foods. And the food manufacturers know that. They add sugar. Sugar lengthens the time that food can stay on the shelf. And it also is addictive. Some experts have said it's more addictive than cocaine. And once your body is so addicted to sugar, it's hard to make a change to a healthy diet. But if you want to live healthy and enjoy your life for the rest of your life, and I'm not telling you you're going to live to be 120, but I want you to live whatever you're going to live in a healthy, high quality of life. But it's up to you, of course. Everything you do is your choice. Everything you eat is your choice. Everything we do daily is a choice. You can go home and sit on the couch and watch TV and eating all kinds of junk foods all night and then don't sleep well. Or you can go home and spend a half hour of exercising and eating a good dinner and maybe a small snack of nuts before going to bed. A healthy lifestyle. Now, maybe that's boring, but how many times do you complain about your health? Oh, I have all these aches and pains. I'm on all these drugs. I have type 2 diabetes. I have high blood pressure. I have arthritis. How long do you want to complain? Or do you want to really do something about it? So you can learn more here every Saturday and Sunday morning, 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. You can go to my website, Terry Talks Nutrition. And there you can listen to the radio show live by just adjusting your times so that you'll be on the same time we are here in the Central Standard Time in the USA. And if you can't do that, just ask your 5-year-old grandchild to help you. They'll open up TerryTalksNutrition.com. They'll get you on the radio show live anywhere around the world. And if you can't find the time to do it when we're live around the world, we store in the archive section of the radio show our radio shows. So you can bring up a radio show, listen anytime you want at your convenience, and learn more. And then you get all my slides as well. You can read and listen. And then also, too, subscribe to my newsletter. My newsletter will be very informative as to how you can make changes in your life. And if you're looking for a special topic, just type that topic into the search section of the e-newsletter, and there'll be several newsletters that come up that address that topic. High blood pressure, type it in, and there's going to be several newsletters that will address ways of lowering your blood pressure naturally. There are scientific evidence that herbs like grapeseed extract, olive extract, olive leaf extract, many of these help to lower your blood pressure naturally without side effects. But if you're on blood pressure medication, don't go off. Talk to your doctor. Get your doctor to help you monitor changes. You know what doctor means? It means teacher. And your doctor should be helping you. But because doctors only have about 6 minutes per patient to help them, that doesn't give them very much time other than to write out another prescription. How unfortunate. But there are more and more alternative physicians that are now spending a half hour to an hour with their patients. Look for those kinds of alternative physicians that will help you decide on your diet. It might be the ketogenic diet, it might be the paleo diet. And you can also follow me on Facebook. You can follow me under Terry Lemerond, Lemerond, Terry Lemerond. Or you can go to TerryTalksNutrition.com, or on Facebook, also Terry Talks Nutrition. There are ways of following me. In fact, just before I did this radio show this morning, I posted on my Facebook page as to how to use the ketogenic diet to improve your cancer outcome and results for a better prevention and treatment, along with your medication, your chemo, if that's necessary, but also the ketogenic diet, and where to go to learn how to follow the ketogenic diet. I am convinced that a low carbohydrate diet is the most advantageous diet for good health. But we have a lot to cover today, and I don't want to spend more time. I'm just trying to get you so motivated to want to make changes, because you don't have to be sick. You don't have to have a disease. You can recover and regain your health. Now, you need time to do that, because you did not get sick in a day. You got sick over time. You abused your body for months and years and decades. It takes 40 years in many cases to develop cancer. Smoke for 40 years or 50 years, and you'll have cancer. In many cases, not everyone, but many will, because we know that tobacco causes cancer. And yet, people still smoke. They're rolling the dice as to whether or not they're going to avoid cancer or will they have to be treated for cancer. Those are changes. You can stop smoking if you have the willpower and maybe use some methods that I'm not going to comment this morning, but there are methods that you can use to stop smoking. But we're going to be talking about how to have a better mental advantage, how to gain a better mental advantage, think better, be able to focus better, to have better mental clarity, to concentrate. We'll talk all about that this morning, and about new predictions for heart disease. And what about those pollen allergies? We have help for that too. And what about COVID-19? How does it affect people that are smoking? And women, you may need more carotenoids, carotenes. And what about going back to school for kids? What does that mean today, health-wise? And here are some warning signs for cancer. Do you know the warning signs for cancer? We'll discuss that today too, and much more. But let's get on with our topic of the day, the featured topic, how to gain mental advantage. Well, here's some new research that destroys your brain function. How we want to keep our brain active, focused, concentrated, clarity, better memory. But today in America, everybody is eating foods that are bad for your brain. Everybody. Processed foods are bad for your brain. Researchers followed 10,000 people in Brazil for 10 years. Now, that's a very good population of people to study, and a lengthy study for 10 years. That always brings better results than maybe 5 people for a week. You don't gain enough analysis from a small study for a short period of time. So the bigger the population, the longer length of study always gives you better results, or at least you'll have good results or bad results, but you know you'll have a better average. Now, the average age of these people was 51. And they were tested for cognitive function, like word recall, word recognition, and verbal fluency. Was performed at the beginning of the study and at the end of the study. And then also, each group of people that were tested, they were asked also, what did they eat? What about their diet? And the results of this study, people who consumed more than 20% of their daily calories from ultra-processed foods had a 28% faster mental decline than people who ate processed foods, little processed foods, or unrefined foods. Ultra-processed foods are manufactured. They contain little or no whole foods. They usually are made of only 5 ingredients. And get this, only 5 ingredients. And these 5 ingredients are totally unhealthy and have little or absolutely no nutritional value. None, zip, zero. 5 ingredients. Can you get this? These are foods that Americans are eating because they taste good, They may be convenient to prepare or just open up a bag and eat right out of the bag, and because it's cost little. So what are these 5 ingredients? Sugar, number 1. Salt, hydrogenated oils, colorants to make it look good, and flavorings to make it taste good, along with the sugar. And other ingredients chosen to mimic the appearance or the taste of actual whole food. People are being taken to the cleaners, eating junk food. No nutrition. There's no nutritional value in sugar. If we were to have some salt, I can buy that. But use whole salt, like Celtic sea salt or Himalaya salt. And hydrogenated oils are very unhealthy. So you could actually make something by mixing maybe refined flour, oil, sugar, salt, and then run it through some kind of a machine so that it comes out in a shape, and then it's colored with artificial coloring, flavorings, artificial flavorings, and then also other ingredients just to make it look and appear or taste like whole food. Now, previous research has shown that in addition to negative effects on mental function, diets high in ultra-processed foods are linked to multiple health conditions, and this is this is really a bad side effect of eating these kinds of foods. Now, these ultra-processed foods, which almost the entire supermarket is loaded with. Now, if you go through the fruit and vegetable aisle, great. And you go through the refrigerated dairy case, great. And you go where the eggs are, great. The butter, great. The olive oil, great. Meat, great. Fish, great. But these ultra-processed foods take up almost 90%, oh, maybe not so much, 80% of the supermarket. All these aisles, one after another, package, process. They'll stay there for 100 years. They just don't deteriorate because they're junk. Now, the side effect of eating ultra-processed foods are linked to multiple health conditions, including a 62% increased risk of death. Now, that's a real serious side effect. What are we doing to ourselves? What are we doing to America? Take a look at the obesity around the country, around the world. This is a terrible shame. Healthcare is bankrupting countries around the world. And all it would take, maybe a generation of eating healthy foods, like the Mediterranean diet, the paleo diet, or the ketogenic diet. We have to get rid of the processed and refined foods. We need to eat fruits and vegetables, and low sugar fruits, lots of vegetables, lots of greens, lots of salads, and meat, fish, chicken, duck, salmon, all these great, wonderful foods. We don't need sugar or refined flour or even grains. For 3 million years, caveman, or the first on this earth, ate ultra healthy foods, not ultra processed foods. And grains have only been consumed for a very, very, very short period of time in comparisons and the ratio of the length of time that man has been on this earth. Man, woman, child has been on this earth. So we need to go back and start eating like our ancestors ate centuries and centuries ago. Now, there are some things that are very healthy for your brain. You may not get enough B vitamins today because they're water soluble. They're flushed out of the foods very easily. They're destroyed when you cook the foods or boil the foods. So B vitamins, B like in boy, capital B. B vitamins are very healthy for your brain function. And these B vitamins are water-soluble nutrients. They have to be replenished all the time. They cannot be stored in your body. They are carried throughout the body, but not stored. So we must regularly replenish these vitamins every day. And maybe sometimes twice a day. They may only stay in the body 4 to 5 to 6 hours. Because these B vitamins are essential for brain function, researchers looked at B vitamin intake in older adults, those over the age of 60, as well as those that had already mental function, declining mental function. And the results simply getting the daily recommended intake, the amount minimally that was needed to prevent deficiency of these vitamins, like vitamin B6, for example. Now, I want to clarify, not just vitamin B6. Vitamin B6 comes in a biologically active form. You know, when the vitamins go into our body, into our intestinal tract, it goes into the liver, and they're converted into the biologically active form. Now, scientists have been able to convert a few of these B vitamins into the biologically active form and encapsulate them. So they go to work immediately. They do not have to go through the liver and transformation from the regular B6 to the biologically active B6. So the B6 that we would want to take is called P5P. P like in Peter, 5P like Peter, P5P. And by taking regularly P5P, the research shows that it reduces mental decline by 32%. Also, another B vitamin called B9, or otherwise commonly known as folate. Don't look for folic acid. Folic acid is synthetic. Look for folate, vitamin B9. This is really critical. And these are 3 vitamins that it can change your mental function and your heart function as well. But B9 in minimally intakes have reduced the risk of mental decline by 46%. And then vitamin B12 reduces the risk of mental decline by 33%. Now these 3 vitamins, B vitamins, are called the B or bioactive Bs. They're bioactive. All other Bs have not been researched sufficiently enough to be converted to the biologically active form. B6 P5P, B9 folate, and B12 is methylcobalamin, not cyanocobalamin, but methylcobalamin. You need these three to prevent the decline of your mental function and your heart function. Now, for mental advantage, so you have the best advantage of mentally functioning, combine these B vitamins with red ginseng. B vitamins. 30 to 50% of people have a genetic mutation that affects, remember what I said, these regular B vitamins have been converted by the liver, but there are up to 50% of Americans have a genetic mutation that affects their ability to convert B vitamins from their food form to their biologically active form in the body. In a supplement, always choose B vitamins in their active form. Vitamin B6, P5P, otherwise known as pyridoxal 5-phosphate, about 10 milligrams. Vitamin B12 as methylcobalamin, 1,000 micrograms. And folate as methylfolate, about 400 micrograms. And make sure you combine that with 100 milligrams of hydroponically grown red ginseng. Hydroponically grown red ginseng yields a high concentration of gessenicides, which are called key compounds, without the use of pesticides or concerns about heavy metals. And this form of ginseng has several studies that shows that it has mental properties and a mental ability to improve your mental function. So stay there, my friends. This half-hour portion of the show has concluded, and we're going to go on to the next one, but I've got to take a quick break right here. We'll come right back. This is Terry Naturally with Terry Talks Nutrition. Be back right after this. Welcome back, my friends. We're back here with Terry Talks Nutrition. I'm Terry Naturally, and we're talking about how to improve mental clarity. Are you forgetting things more easily? Do you walk into a room and then wonder why you walked into that room? You knew you were there for a reason, but all of a sudden you couldn't think of the reason. You forget where you put your keys. Normally they hang on the little key rack by the door, but they're not there. Are they in your pocket? And maybe in a different pair of pants or dress, or maybe a different purse? Do you remember? Well, what was I going to say? I forgot. Do you ever feel that way? Well, that's why we're talking about how to improve mental function. Now, in the first half of the program, I talked primarily about 3 biologically active forms of B vitamins: B6, B9, and folate. Or otherwise, I should say, or folate. And then B12. B6, B12, B9. These are very powerful nutrients for improvement of mental and cognitive function, to avoid mental cognitive impairment. And then I mentioned, as we closed off the first portion of the program, of red ginseng. Now, this is a very superior form of red ginseng. It is hydroponically grown. That means no soil, no contaminants, no heavy metals, and there is no use of pesticides, fungicides, or herbicides. It is grown in very sterile conditions. Normally, those that are growing red ginseng or any ginseng that is farmed, it is usually grown from 4 to 6 years. And if you ever grown a crop, you want to make sure that at the end of the period of growth, and in this case with ginseng, it's 4 to 6 years. Now, if you plant a crop that you can't harvest for 6 years, you're going to do everything you possibly can to prevent destruction of that crop, right? That's your livelihood. You want to make sure that after 6 years, you have a really big harvest of ginseng. So the multiple spray every year for 6 years, ginseng. It is highly contaminated with pesticides. Now, when it's grown hydroponically, it is in very sterile conditions, no need for pesticides. It is not sprayed with pesticides or any kind of chemicals or solvents. And because of this very sterile growth conditions, it has growing in 1 year what other crops take 6 years. And they have analyzed red ginseng grown hydroponically in 1 year, contains the key compounds called ginsenosides, equal to a 20-year-old wild-crafted ginseng that was found in the wild. Unbelievable, powerful ginseng. Red ginseng. So in tests, in studies, in an animal model, red ginseng increased brain activity about 15% more than white ginseng. In a human trial, researchers tested the effects of ginseng in 30 elderly people with mild cognitive impairment. Each participant underwent standardized mental function testing and measurement of their brain activity. And the results of this study: red ginseng increased brain activity in areas of the brain associated with mental performance. In a larger study, including 50 healthy adults with very high levels of stress, red ginseng significantly improved focus and attention versus a placebo or even white ginseng. Red ginseng was more effective than a placebo and also white ginseng. Now, both red ginseng and white ginseng are of the same species. The red ginseng comes from using white ginseng and steaming it or cooking it. And by cooking the red ginseng under the right temperatures, of course, not overcooking, and this goes back thousands of years, but by steaming it, it increases more of these very rare noble ginsenosides and makes it more effective than white ginseng. So another study, the participants took standardized computer tests to measure their attention level before starting treatment and then after 12 days of use. The scores improved versus baseline, which was at the beginning of the study, for the red ginseng group, and actually declined for the placebo group and also for the white ginseng group. Red ginseng is much more powerful than white ginseng. The steaming ruptures the fibers of the ginseng and allows more of these key rare noble ginsenosides, the key compounds of ginseng, to be absorbed systemically. It's like cooking a carrot. Cooked carrots, properly cooked carrots, steamed, not boiled the life out of them and the water thrown away, but steaming properly or stir frying is much more healthy. I know this is going to be a shock, much more healthy than a raw carrot. Because we don't have a stomach that can digest a raw carrot or raw broccoli or raw cauliflower. I know those trays of raw vegetables look very enticing, but they don't have the health value that those that are cooked. Because the cooking is a method of opening up the fibers of the vegetables so that we can absorb the nutrients. If you want to eat a raw carrot or raw broccoli, you have to chew and chew and chew and chew. What did Grandma say? 32 times? Because that's how we break down fiber, is with our teeth, not our stomach. So cooking vegetables properly is cause no damage and makes it more available for us to absorb the nutrients more effectively. So that's very, very good for us and easy to do. So cooking does not destroy nutrients unless you overcook or they've been on a steam table for hours. So this is very easy to do. So what I would suggest, here's the formulation that I take, that I like for my mental advantage, is combining these forms of B vitamins with red ginseng. So the B vitamins, which I've already talked about, that 30 to 50% of people that have a genetic mutation that affects their ability to convert B vitamins from their food to their active form in the body. So as a supplement, choose B vitamins in their active form. B6 as pyridoxal 5-phosphate. B12 as methylcobalamin. And folate as methylfolate. And then add 100 milligrams of hydroponically grown red ginseng. This is a proven, clinically studied combination for improving mental function, concentration, focus, learning skills, improved memory. And the hydroponically red ginseng yields a very high concentration of ginsenosides. These are the key compounds, and better key compounds than you would find in the white ginseng. The red ginseng, because of the way that it's grown and harvested, it has a very high yield of these very rare noble ginsenosides, where when you consume white ginseng, it has to go through your digestive system, and then the regular classic ginsenosides can be converted to the rare noble, but that doesn't always happen in everybody. And we don't know the percentage of how that is converted. But we do know that the hydroponically grown red ginseng far exceeds the level of ginsenosides that we need, which makes it so much superior. So this is really excellent to have a combination of the B vitamins, three B vitamins, and red ginseng. Now, here are some very new predictions. Maybe you don't want to hear this regarding heart disease. Here's a study. Not good. Well, the study was good in the way it was done, but the outcome was not good. A study published in August, just this year, reports that the rate of cardiovascular disease, heart disease, is on track to significantly increase over the next 40 years. If current trends hold as they are today, the authors of the study predict that by 2060, 40 years from now, diabetes rate will increase by 40%. High blood pressure rates will increase by 25%. And obesity rates will increase to the extent that all Americans will be obese. Now, currently, 42% to as much as 48%. In fact, Black Americans are obese to the extent of 48% of the population. Hispanic, 44%. And white Americans, 42%. 75% of Americans are overweight, including obesity, and the project increase by 2060 is that almost all Americans will be obese. And the rate of stroke and heart failure will increase by 33%. That is a very sad, not very good prediction of heart disease in America. We're not heading in the right direction. Our diet, our lifestyle, our degree of activity is causing us to be the weakest, one of the weakest countries in the world. We're not in good shape. We're not fit. We're not healthy. It's diet. We've got to change the way we eat. You can't outrun a bad diet. You can't out-exercise a bad diet. Just not possible. Our diet, the food that we eat every day, it either nourishes us or destroys us over time. We can't get healthy in a day, and we can't destroy our body in a day. No more than you can destroy your car in a day. But the way you treat your car for 5 or 10 years makes a difference. Good or bad. Your body's the same way. Your body needs fuel. Your body needs nutrients. Your body needs whole foods. And there's no room for refined and processed packaged foods and sugar and grains. We need to go back to the Mediterranean diet as an example. The paleo diet is another example. And the ketogenic diet, which is the one I have chosen. But any one of those would get you out of the depth of the hole you dug for yourself. And most people are digging their graves with their teeth. Well, many people have pollen allergies. So maybe I can offer a little bit of recommendations or suggestions as to how to avoid, and it's coming, fall. Fall means ragweed allergies. And ragweed, the plants of ragweed, produce pollen from August to November, with the peak of production of pollen in September. Now get this, one ragweed plant can release 1 billion pollen particles, which have been found in the air as far as 400 miles out to sea, out in the ocean. Now, every state in our country contains ragweed except Alaska. A new study recently published looked at the effects of quercetin. It's a bioflavonoid from fruits and vegetables. Quercetin, spelled Quercetin. Quercetin. It's a polyphenol, a bioflavonoid. And it has been studied and remarkably good outcome for allergy symptoms. In a study with 66 adults with pollen allergies were treated with quercetin or a placebo for 4 weeks. The allergy symptoms after a 4-week study: sneezing, watery eyes, eyes that itch, and the overall quality of life were significantly improved for the group of patients that took quercetin versus those that took a placebo found no significant change in the placebo group. Why does quercetin work? Well, when we have an allergy, we have high levels of histamine. A lot of doctors prescribe an inhibitor of histamine. That's what quercetin does naturally with no side effects. It reduces histamine by 97%. It has a broader range of activity than the common allergy drugs that are prescribed by physicians. Quercetin for allergies. Cannot beat it. It has a broader range, much more effective range of activity than prescription drugs. Now, the studies that show quercetin is effective had to use a very high dosage, 3 to 4 grams, because quercetin is not very easily absorbable. It's a very, very difficult fat-soluble nutrient to be absorbed. But by taking a very small dosage of quercetin and complexing it with a compound called gamma-cyclodextrin, which is a natural vegetable starch, it therefore can boost absorption many, many, many times, like 8 to 10 times. And then by adding that very small dosage, like 50 milligrams of quercetin with about 250 milligrams of vitamin C, has a huge impact in lowering the levels of histamine. So for allergies, you can't beat it. I have run into people that commented that they were taking up to 3 to 4 to 5 grams, that's 5,000 milligrams. And they got no results because you can't absorb easily quercetin. But when you take a very small dosage, like just 50 milligrams of quercetin, and bind it to gamma-cyclodextrin, it'll boost absorption. I love this gamma-cyclodextrin. It's a vegetable starch. You cannot absorb the starch. You do not digest the starch. There is no calories. But the gamma-cyclodextrin forms a bucket. And when you mix a natural substance to the bucket, the fat-soluble portion of the natural ingredient is formed on the inside of the bucket, and the water-soluble portion on the outside of the bucket. Now, gamma-cyclodextrin has been used for over 100 years by the pharmaceutical industry because drugs, many of them are notoriously difficult to be absorbed. And if you could take something like gamma-cyclodextrin, which has no known side effects, after 100 years, no known side effects, no adverse events, and it's not absorbed by itself. It just makes whatever is complex to it absorbable. And it doesn't have any calories. You're not going to increase any grams of carbohydrates from the starch. This is such a superior way to increase active substances that are notoriously difficult to be absorbed. This is really very, very effective. Now, in the beginning of the program, I mentioned we will talk a little bit about COVID and smoking. Here's a new study, just came out. In a comparison study of over 4,000 people versus those who did not smoke, people who reported smoking or vaping and became infected with COVID-19 were 39% more likely to require a mechanical ventilator for treatment and 45% more likely to die of COVID infection. Wow. 39% more likely to require a mechanical ventilator for treatment and 45% more likely to die. You know, some people say, well, they were very healthy. Did you find out if they smoked? Previous research findings. In people with early stage lung cancer, participants who quit smoking survived almost 2 years longer than those who continued to smoke. Oh boy, I had a very dear friend that smoked all his life, came down with cancer of lungs, and he could not stop smoking. He would steal away and smoke on his own. He would hide it. Why be so embarrassed? If you can't stop smoking, smoke. But good God, give it up. You at least will lengthen your life. And those who stopped smoking had an overall higher 5-year survival rate. 60% versus 48%. And progression, free survival, 54% versus 43%, in comparison to those who continued smoking. It's never, ever, ever too late to stop smoking. You'll always be healthier. But you'll never be healthier if you continue to smoke. That, my friends, ends up my program for today. But I'll be back here tomorrow at 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. And remember, you're the one who's going to make the choices. It's only up to you to determine your health. You are the one that can change your health or not change your health and suffer the consequences. It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to us as to what we can do to improve our health. Start now. Say a prayer for this crazy, insane world. God bless you, my friends, and God bless this great country.
Thank you for listening to Terry Talks Nutrition Weekly Show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio.